Welcome to the Sporting Chance. This podcast is brought to you by Midnight Falconry, makers of high-quality falconry leashes and jesses. Check them out at midnightfalconry.com. Ashley Clark Falconry, the highest quality leather falconry equipment, handmade in England, built to last and looks damn good while you're at it. Check them out at aclarkfalconry.co.uk. Be sure and use the code SportingChance10 at checkout. North Mountain Goshawks. Seth Roy is breeding high-quality, true parent-reared goshawks in addition to imprint goshawks on order. Check him out at northmountaingoshawks.com. All right, before you get started there, we're joined by Jeremy Jones.
Big J in the house.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Welcome to the Sporting Chance podcast.
I'm pumped. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for being here. You're like, to get you on the show, we had to call like 3 publicists and wait on a reception line, listening to like this music, and then we had to set an appointment for you to call us back. It was pretty.
Your agent's a real asshole.
Yeah, no, I got to get rid of him for sure.
Bro, freaking good for you, dude. I literally, my wife's like, who are you having on tonight? I'm like, Jeremy Jones. She's like, oh, is that the guy with the cat? I said, and then I go look up his. I said, I think he's got like 1 million subscribers. She go, 1.55 million, bro. Dude, you're killing it,
man. I never
awesome,
dreamed it would happen. So
has it changed? Like, has it changed your life in any way? I'm sorry, we're just like jumping into it, but
no, you're good. Not really. I mean, obviously, I didn't ask for it. I wasn't expecting it all to happen.
Right.
I came from dog training, so I had a business where I trained retrievers for waterfowl hunting. So I had all my social media was that, and I wanted something that was strictly falconry. So I just made the Jones Falconry, like literally the day I got licensed, I made it and started following everybody falconry related that I could. And then it just started building, and I got a bunch of followers. And my buddy said, "Man, you need to make a YouTube." I made a YouTube, and then it just blew up. I was not expecting it to, but
what was it? Barstool, right? Barstool Sports. They shared it first, and then it from there it like went to the moon.
Yeah, for sure. And there's one guy that did a remix of it, and it went viral. So I had a lot of people that would see that, and he was doing a little voiceover of it, and it would show my video, but not
the black guy.
Yeah. And I had people on there
it was hilarious.
Like that hand and that voice don't match up, and this guy's invited to the cookout anytime, things like that. So that really boosted it up for sure.
Dude, I'm a plumber, right? I have my own business. Bro, and everybody at the supply house and all the plumbers in the area, like we all, when we're online at the supply house, we all know each other and we start talking. So everybody knows that I fly birds. So I had like 4 people, like random, like 50-year-old plumber dudes. Do you know this guy showing me your videos? I'm like, yeah, I know him. I said, that's falconry. They're like, that's what you do? I said, yeah, it's the same thing, basically.
Same concept.
Same concept. He's just doing a little bit of a different style. Yeah, that's freaking cool. Aaron, you good, bro?
I'm great.
I'm doing your taxes.
I'm taking what you're. I'm actually looking at his YouTube right now.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
So it's funny how that works with the general public when they find out that we do falconry. They're always like, "Oh, I saw this thing about this girl that went to Mongolia with eagles," and you're like, "Yeah, I fucking yeah. Carry on."
A buddy of mine was in South Africa actually, and he called me and he was like, "Man, I just had somebody come up and ask me if I know Jones Falconry."
That's crazy, right?
Damn,
insane.
That's wild. What's the YouTube plaque like? Is it like is it hefty or does it feel?
So this is the 100,000 one. Try to get centered in front of my camera.
Okay,
so you can see that size wise.
What's it made of?
What's it made of?
He's walking away.
Is the Big Daddy. So this one is much larger.
Yeah.
Can you hold the other one up to it?
Yeah.
Size comparison.
How's your camera doing that?
It's tracking
is
it.
It zooming on its own?
Yeah, it's tracking your
I
movements.
thought,
Dude, that's this guy's got all the good stuff, man. That's what happens when you go viral. You get good cameras.
pretty good size difference there.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
cool.
that's beautiful, man.
What are they made of, Jeremy?
Man, I don't know. Obviously
like
not
metal?
silver and gold. Some kind of metal.
Titanium.
Yeah, they're heavy. I mean, the
damn.
next one is 10 million subscribers, I think.
You're on your way.
It's like a crystal. So pretty cool.
Oh, I seen that. Yeah, I seen like YouTubers like,
Ooh.
man, that is so cool.
Yeah,
I hate
it's
the
pretty
ones that
awesome.
act like it's no big deal. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
straight up cool. Like,
For sure.
Yeah, like-
it's a big deal.
Yeah, a million. You know how like these people devote their whole life to try to like get subscribers, and they never hit a million. You hit
Yeah.
a million, like that's and especially for falconry, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so happy
big.
that you and you really are like, you have a huge platform, and you're not like us common folk that. You're very like respectable, and everything you post is like very informative, and
Dude, I try.
you don't post anything controversial like some people in this conversation, myself. Like it's great, man. Like I'm like if it could happen to anybody, I'm happy it happened to somebody like you, man.
It's funny. I mentioned that Tyler Sladen was the most famous falconer on the internet, but I was definitely wrong about that.
No, I'm just thankful for guys like that. I mean, I've got plenty of, like Tyler calls them, internet friends that have helped me along and kind of send me a little message here and there if I've done something that, hey, you need to watch that, and just kind of keep it for general public more than anything, because this isn't necessarily something that I'm doing. I may have made it just to watch falconers and share my stuff with falconers, but that's not the majority of my followers. I think I follow like less than 1,000 people, and pretty much every one of them are falconers. So that was my real reason for making it.
You're making something for public consumption, basically.
Yeah, trying to. And that was a big thing. Like once I got to a point where I noticed the general public was actually following along and watching, I tried to tailor it towards strictly trying to be educational. I wanted to be able to try to get it where I could at least give people some general knowledge and not make it look like it's just a fun afternoon with a pet or anything like that. So
that's good.
Yeah, I love how because there's a couple falconers that have pretty big followings, and it bothers me when some people, once they start getting a following, they start shying away from the actual like true falconry aspect of the sport.
Right.
And you like embraced it, and then you're like really, you're showing it. I mean, obviously nothing is gruesome, nothing is off-putting, but it's falconry. I mean, car hawking, people debate and stuff like that, but you're flying red tails, you're catching game. All your hundreds of thousands and million followers are seeing all those videos, and you're presenting falconry in like its truest form. You're not just taking pictures with birds. You're not just sitting. Some of your videos are great where you're like prepping food and talking about making anklets, or a couple of your videos like I would post those videos, but I feel like nobody cares. But like people really seem to like it. They eat it up. They love it.
People don't know how to watch the previous video that talks about, hey, this is what I'm doing, and then they get on there and like, what's the shackles on its ankle, things like that. So
yeah, let it go, let it free.
Yeah, gotta get ahead of it a little bit. I know you said something last episode or something about death threats and stuff like that, and people. I mean, there's folks, hey, I wish I'd see that bird go out that window. I'd hit it with a baseball bat, like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Over the cutest damn thing you could ever imagine. They want to.
I got one right here. I'm about to pull it off the perch.
Yeah, pull him. It's a him, right? I don't remember. Yeah, you have two, right? Don't you have two, or you had two?
So I've had two. I've had two. This is my third. So this little guy, he's actually
he's so
a
cool.
hard imprint. Another falconer here in the state got him when he fell out of a nest. So like right at a year ago. She unfortunately got ill, had been keeping him inside. He was literally free lofted in the house, never fed from the fist, never had a recall, jump on top of the iPad. didn't do anything. He started kind of bowing to her and bringing her food and all that. And she said, hey, we got to get this guy somewhere. So 1 year in, he had never been outside, never rode in a car, anything like that. Killed his first baggie today. So now he's a complete different animal.
He's so cool.
Dude, he's just
so the audience knows. Just so the audience knows, Jeremy has his little male kestrel on the camera here, and it's hopping around, it's jumping up on the iPad, and it's so cool. They're awesome birds, man. They really are.
Yeah, for sure.
Little murder parakeets,
she did a great job raising this guy too. But yeah, he's a fun one. So this one, imprint that I didn't have anything to do with. My first bird was a passage, and then I did the imprint with the male kestrel last year, and now trying to get this guy going to pass him off to somebody else to hunt with. So,
dude, so I would imagine. Well, first of all, you know, we're jumping like right into like Jones Falconry as like who Jones Falconry is now, and like the subscribers and the views and the education you're doing and all the awesome things that you're doing for falconry. But like, tell us, like, you know, the usual. Tell us how you got into falconry. What sparked your interest in it? I know you said you were training retrievers. Like, you saw a bird one day and you're like, I'm gonna kill starlings.
So I started out duck hunting. Started duck hunting in high school. Went my first couple times. Got wet retrieving ducks. Said, all right, I'm buying a dog. Bought a dog, trained it. Bought another dog, trained it. Went to Petco one day to buy dog food. Talked to this old man getting drugged around by a dog. Long story short, got there to check out. They offered me a dog training position at Petco. Cool. So I did that for a little bit, and then filled my mom's backyard up with labs training duck dogs, and said heck with Petco, and got out of that, and was in school at the time, and sat in school just thinking about the dogs at the house, and eventually just fully committed. So I trained retrievers professionally for 11 years. Sold the business, property, kennels, everything, dog trailer, the whole 9 yards, and then discovered falconry. So it was a perfect time where I had a little hole in my life from the dogs being gone, and just filled it with falconry, and then it just overflowed.
Cool, man.
What state are you in?
Alabama, North Alabama. So
cool.
Yeah, you and Aaron have similar accents.
You think so?
Aaron he doesn't like when I talk about his southern drawl.
Yeah, we got
it's fine with me, but sure. I think he's got I think his is a little more.
Us Yankees, we love the southern drawl. It sounds good to us. We enjoy hearing it. So okay, but that so what you went to medieval times or something, or you went to a Renaissance fair?
John Groves. I don't know if you guys know him.
I know the name. Yes, I know. So
he has the video of the prairie falcon stooping down and smacking the dry feeding Drake mallard. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that many times.
I didn't know that was a falconry bird, but yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh, peregrine falcon." I'm like, it's a prairie, but anyway.
Yep, it's a wild prairie.
And, it is a wild bird. Okay.
Yeah, and it had actually been smacking those dry feeding mallards, and I think it had taken a couple passes at that one. And he just happened to get that final just kill shot of it. And
that's one of the most epic kill shots ever recorded. I saw
that. And y'all talked about the thing that hits you the first time you have a bird on the fist. I think watching that video probably hit me harder than having a bird on my fist the first time. But yeah, man, I dove right into that, and I saw that he was a falconer, and I was like, dude, I had no idea that's what falconry was. So that right there started it. I dove straight down the rabbit hole and did not stop. So duck hunting for me, I obviously learned pretty quick that Alabama's not the best place for long-winged ducks, but found the Alabama Hawking Association. We're more squirrel hawking around here, but dove into that, researched everything about it. From selling the dog kennels, I was actually living in my fifth wheel camper at the time. Nice. at a park that was right here. I mean, we're right by Wildlife Refuge, the whole 9 yards. So I was like, man, I'm doing this. And then realized pretty quick that can't build a muse on the back of your rented RV lot and all that. So I was kind of forced to do it the right way. Lived in my camper for 2 years and just tagged along and hunted with anybody and everybody. And You always say pro tip. The biggest pro tip I can give anybody is don't post on Facebook. Search your questions first because somebody has already asked it. So I did that.
How do you even do that?
There in the search bar. Yeah, you can get in groups and do that.
You go in like hardcore hawkers, and then you go up in like the search bar and you write like
goshawk trapping. And anytime anybody's ever said goshawk trapping, it's going to pop up.
Dude, that's
post.
A huge pro tip. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Relax, Aaron. I'm not a learned scholar like you. Okay, jeez. I'm a down to earth plumber.
I don't think the pro tip is how to use the search bar on Facebook.
No.
It's that you should research before you ask the question.
Search before you ask.
Casey's just amazed that you can use a search bar on Facebook.
No, I didn't know that. Like, that's a good question. That is a really good pro tip. That's a good pro tip. I'm glad
so
that you shared that.
Anytime I had a question, I just searched it and read, saved all kinds of stuff, and then finally, once I got moved into my house, I said, all right, I'm ready.
That's awesome, man. When me and my wife first got married, we lived in a double wide. So I feel you. We lived in a good old double wide down on a farm. And my landlord wouldn't let me have any dogs, but he let me have as many birds as I wanted. He didn't care.
Wow.
As long as it wasn't a permanent structure, he was fine with it. And I just put up like these Tractor Supply 8x8. They make really heavy duty, like awesome. They're really another pro tip. They're good for a weathering area. They're just a solid welded
producer's pride, baby.
Producer's pride. They're freaking great, man. A grizzly bear couldn't get into those things. And I set like 2 or 3 of them up, and I had a red tail and 2 goshawks, and I was killing stuff all day and living out of my trailer at night.
It was great. Yep, the dream, 100%.
It was a disaster though, dude. Like we had rats because we had chickens. My wife loved the chickens, and we had rats coming in the floor. I remember a possum and a skunk were under because it was skirted, because it's we got to keep it classy. So it was skirted around the double wide. And dude, it was so funny when friends would come over. They'd be like, "Oh, what are you gonna hook this thing up and take it on the road?" It was so funny. But a skunk and a possum were under there messing around, and the air conditioning duct, it would suck up fresh air intake from underneath the trailer, right? Which is super up to code, of course. And the skunk sprayed the possum. Dude, the house, it was like the feds came in and threw tear gas in there. Me and my wife ran out. We had to stay in a hotel for like 3 days. It was hilarious, dude. Good times in the double wide.
I bet that was hilarious.
It was. We were actually. My wife's a good sport, So, but anyway, okay, Aaron, go ahead.
So, Jeremy, you showed us earlier the Kestrel. I hate that for everyone listening; they're not going to be able to see it, but it seems like your thing is Kestrels.
Probably not much anymore.
No, that doesn't fit the narrative. Your thing's Kestrel.
Right. Yeah, I'm the Kestrel guy forever.
So the reason I was going down that road is, truth be told, I don't really know anyone that's been very successful with a Kestrel.
I know a few.
It's not common. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. When I was about to get my General, I had been squirrel hawking, caught a couple rabbits, just really focusing on everything fur with the red tail. And I was driving down the road and I looked out and I saw this Kestrel just hovering above a field, and it just dove down. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize how readily available Kestrels were and how easy it was. I don't want to say easy, but they're about as accessible around here as a red tail is. So I do a lot of driving for work, and every time I saw one, I would drop a pin and remember where it was. And anytime I'd ride back by, I'd pull over and kind of look around. So just observing them and watching some videos, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try it. So got really lucky with that first bird, passage bird. She killed her first head of game like 15 days off the trap.
Nice.
Something crazy.
That's awesome.
Went through and did everything just fine. No baggies for her.
Really?
It was like the 3rd or 4th slip out the window, and she nailed a robin. And I was like, well, we're gonna let this guy go. And I just took her in and gave her every single tidbit. I rolled it up in one big ball and let her eat it off the fist in the truck. And next slip was a starling, and she nailed it, and she ate the entire thing, pretty much every bit of meat off the breast. On my middle console in the truck, I just pulled over and sat right there with her and had my hands involved in it and all that. But she wound up killing like 230 starlings her first 3-4 months hunting. So
that's impressive. Yeah.
That is really impressive.
Yeah, the most I've heard. What's the most you've taken in a day?
13.
It's nice.
I think.
It's nice.
And now for work, I do sales for a jacuzzi dealer here in the state. So we do old walk-in showers for the old cast iron tubs and fiberglass inserts and stuff like that. So at max, I have 3 appointments a day. First one at 10, then 2 and 6. So I always have time to fly in the mornings. With the Kestrel, I'd leave my truck running, and they'd be like, "Your truck's running." And I got a bird out there, and like sometimes people would care, and then if somebody told me they got a bird in their car, like we're stopping what we're doing and we're going out there, Yeah. And you'd be amazed how many people just like shrug it off their shoulder. Okay, he's got a bird out there,
Yeah.
But it went everywhere with me, and I tried to socialize it like a dog. I didn't know any better, and people argue all the time online. They're like, "Oh, that's pointless. You don't need to do that." But proof's in the pudding. My bird did good, getting socialized a lot. So
yeah, it can't really hurt. And that's a huge discussion that I have internally with like my goshawk group. It's like socializing versus not socializing. Does it work? Does it not work? And I know for accipiter, I know for goshawk specifically, and I've seen it anecdotally in my birds that you can socialize them and do all this crazy stuff. As soon as they hard pen, it's like a switch goes off in their brain. And then it's like, you have to basically do the socialization all over again. But I've never imprinted a kestrel or done anything with kestrel. So I don't, I wouldn't.
And that was a passage bird that I did that with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got her about 8 months old and just kind of rolled with it. So
yeah, man, those birds are sweet. The micros, man, they just they progress. Not to take anything away from what you did, because you do a phenomenal job with all your birds. But I don't fly kestrels. I only flown a whole bunch of Merlins. But it's so funny how those little birds, they progress so quick, man. It's like a red tail. A micro is like on fast forward. Like everything moves quicker.
Everything so fast. It moves right through it. So
yeah. It's like a very going from like a red tail or like an accipiter to a micro falcon, I would say. Not necessarily like a Coops or a Sharpie or something like that. But like it's like it becomes like this very pleasant, enjoyable experience that's so relaxing, and they almost seem smarter, right? Like more inquisitive, and they just kind of seem to like your bird on this screen before. Like he's just looking around, he's jumping on your fist, he's jumping up on the camera, back on the ground. Like he's just kind of like hanging out. Like there's there's no crazy behavior or nothing like that, man. But
I think it's a long wing thing. They just seem very intelligent.
Well, they're a civilized species.
Very true. Very true. You can't argue with that.
So now I want to get into nothing crazy, but we talked a little bit earlier about you, people saying they're going to hit your bird with a baseball bat. I get it all the time. I'm going to shoot you and I'm going to shoot you and your family and your bird. And like, I get it all the time. But like,
Jersey trash, half-breed kids.
Yeah, half-breed kids. Yeah, because my wife's Hispanic. Yeah, real lovely people come out of the woodwork when you post a bird doing something. So like, have you been getting a lot of hate? Because I see a lot of your stuff and everybody seems to love it. But do you get any kind of like, like besides letting the bird free and like, which you do in almost every video, but people don't seem to realize that. Like what else, like you get any real hate and from other falconers too? Like go into it, if you want.
I've got a real big group that rides for me hard on the internet. So like if anybody ever says something, a lot of my followers that have literally watched every video and seen all the answers to questions will normally get on there and give them a piece of their mind while also answering the question and telling them, no, you're wrong. He does this, that, and the other. This is how it works. But other than that, I get so many messages. I'm not able to go through and read them all, and all the comments. There's times when I log in and it's just full of notifications, and I'll scroll through there and like see if there's something worth responding to as far as a good question, stuff like that. But I'm just horrible at social media. Like I've got to get better at posting. I claim I'm going to answer all these questions for people in videos, and then like I just want to fly the birds more than anything. So
yeah, man, that's exactly what it is, man. It's like I don't have nearly as many followers as you, and my freaking inbox is nonstop all day long. It's like, and I have like a fraction of your followers, and I can only imagine it's just nonstop with everything. You get anything good though? You get any people that want to collaborate? Have you been on any other podcasts before? Like I don't even know.
So I'm actually going to be on the Mossy Oak Gamekeeper podcast next month. They're putting me up at the Mossy Oak golf course down there. I get to take a buddy. We're going to play 18 holes and get on there. And then they want to have me back in a few months once we get closer to hunting season and do something with the new bird I'm getting and all that.
So Mossy Oak. So those that you don't listen, I'm a bow hunter. Mossy Oak is a huge, multi-million-dollar company. They sell. Mossy Oak is a camo company. Really, they sell all kinds of gear. I think they do some calls too. But the deer hunting
stuff now,
the deer hunting, they sell deer hunting properties now. They got all kinds of. I mean, you're talking, multi-million-dollar, huge giant company, dude. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, this
finally see me and Aaron before you got on. We just did 45 minutes of ranting about how posting falconry content and posting hunting content in general is the only way to be on the offensive in terms of anti-hunters, because anti-hunters are constantly on the offensive, and hunters for many years and trappers for many years, we're on the defensive. We just keep to ourselves. Oh, don't post anything on social media. You're going to give them ammunition. Now, Mossy Oak has taken an interest in falconry content because Jeremy is posting very good, very well done educational falconry content that's not shying away from falconry, by the way. He's catching game and killing stuff, and it's all real. I mean, nothing's gruesome, obviously, but it's all real. It's all falconry. And Mossy Oak is a traditionally, whitetail deer hunting company. And now, dude, that's huge. I didn't even know that. That's huge, bro. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Congratulations to all of us falconers. One of ours has made it.
Yeah, check out the Mossy Oak Gamekeepers podcast is what it's called. So
okay,
I've got to get on there and give them some listens too. They got like 250 something episodes, so I'm not going to be able to catch them all before I get on there like I did you guys. But
we're the practice run here. You're in the bullpen here.
Well, the thing I can sit here and talk to you guys about. Hey, the Kestrel got his first badgie today, where I can't say that on Mossy Oak's podcast.
You can explain it. Yeah, I guess.
Keep it for the general public kind of deal. So
yeah, I guess. I mean, you could explain. See, that's hard, right? You explain
stay away from it. That's literally
right.
And that's where I'm at with social media. Like I've gone through and done this little imprint Kestrels training from like, hey, here's day one. He's never been held and restrained by a human, never even had equipment on, to now he's free flying outside, and I'll go sit him on a fence and get back in the truck and call him back through the window. And it's like, well, hey, what's next? We want to see all this. And it's like, hey, y'all can't see all this. You can see it once we start actually hunting. But until then, there's certain things we got to keep in our bag that not everybody can know about. So
yeah, but the Mossy Oak guys, I mean, we do baggies, and they're not showing the wounded deer on their videos.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of relative in a way.
He was like, man, we got some Eurasian collared doves out here in the driveway. I can keep throwing some seed out for them till you get here with that Kestrel like them.
Yeah. You might take one, right? What do you think?
Hey, I don't know. He's only 80 grams. He flies 80 to 85. So
he looks pretty spicy though. I think he can handle it.
He's hot since that badgie today. He was snatching black rubber gloves out of the floorboard and all kinds of stuff after that badgie.
You tried to snatch your iPad for a second there.
Yeah, he will for sure.
Casey, to your point earlier, you were saying that Jeremy, he's showing falconry. I think that's you got to justify why you have these birds, So
Yeah, man.
I think you need to, if you're going to be on social media with your birds, you should probably show what you're doing to some degree.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you should show, everything. My argument, I've said it before, I'll say it again. National Geographic is showing lions eating a water buffalo while it's half alive, and they don't, you know what I mean? Do they get hate mail? I'm not, well, whatever, but I'm not saying show your bird, eating a starling while it's alive, but, it's nature, and falconry is literally immersing yourself into nature. So to shy away from your bird feeding off of a carcass, I think is kind of a mistake, because you're not showing the full picture, and the full picture really is a beautiful thing, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion. Predators interacting with their prey is a beautiful thing. You know what I mean?
I had a guy say, I'd like to see how Ruben dispatches his quarry. I'm sure you can't post that on YouTube. And I said, done. Just wait till we get one. I'll make it happen, because people don't know how that happens in the wild.
Yeah.
And being able to explain that, and just the anatomy of a falcon, and explain how they're able to do what they do. And people just see bird of prey and they think they're all just one big bubble and they're all the same. So being able to, and I can't speak from anything but 3 red tails and 3 kestrels. I'm going into my 3rd season total. So I've had a lot of experience with those 2 in a very short amount of time, as much as experience as you can have with 3 birds of each species. But it definitely has been enough to put my 2 cents in, to the general public at least. So
I've got some kestrel specific questions for you.
Maybe I can answer them.
So have you ever had a Cooper's Hawk come in on a kestrel?
All right. So this is a good thing here. Social media doesn't know this, and they probably should. My imprint got taken by a Cooper's Hawk. I transferred him to another falconer, so I didn't have to see it happen. But he called me and he was like, hey, man, the bird got cooped. Does that mean what I think it means? And he said, yeah. He said he missed a slip, landed on a fence pole. Coopers came in and snatched him. He said I threw the truck in the park and took off screaming, and he just flew into the distance. And my passage caught a house sparrow and took it up on the top of a 2-story apartment building. First time to ever. I didn't slip her on it. She missed a starling, and the house sparrow bolted out from under a dumpster, and she just drilled it. And when I made in, I barely missed the Jess as she flew off. And so she's up on top of this apartment building. There's like a homeless camp back behind it. There's like a crew of guys doing work on the side of it, and a bunch of soccer balls out in the yard. So I'm just sitting there watching, and this Cooper's Hawk comes in and buzzed it. So I start screaming, and everybody all of a sudden is like, well, what's this guy screaming about out here? Yeah. The Cooper's Hawk spins back around. So at this point, I'm just grabbing soccer balls and chunking them at the roof of this 2-story apartment building. And I called my buddy. He has a bunch of rental properties. And I was like, dude, can you bring me an extension ladder? And he said, where are you? And I told him. And so I'm back behind the Tractor Supply, back further behind the homeless camp, climbed up on top of this apartment building, trying to get my bird back. And I had to leave for an appointment. And my buddy was like, man, just give those homeless folks $5 and have them watch it. I was just going to say,
man, you give some homeless people a couple bucks or some drugs, man, they'll make a human ladder, man.
And grab it.
Yeah, they'll freaking and then they'll do a
ladder.
They'll make a human ladder real quick, bro. You flash some money at those suckers, bro. Dude, they'll get up there in 2 seconds and then do a backflip off of it, bro.
Yeah, with the bird on the fist.
I've seen the videos, bro.
Yeah, so that was the only real close, like almost got taken by a Cooper's and almost lost my bird at the same time type deal. But
and the thing about kestrels, man, is like I said, I fly Merlins, and the Merlin, when they're fit, they can outfly the coops. But I don't know if I don't know the answer. Can a kestrel outfly a coops? I don't know that.
Possibly, and I'm not one to give a definite answer, but I would say if you had a wild one, maybe, and if you had one that you had trained to fly over and actually like hover and had a lot of like waiting on breast energy and able to really pump, right. But they're fit, but they're not building as much energy or as much fitness, just car hawking, Right. They got a lot of oomph from the car and the fist.
Right. Of explosive. You're doing a lot of explosive training.
Yeah, it's so cool to run back and watch one of the videos in slow motion and see how they actually plant their feet on my finger, bend down and brace and launch at the perfect time. Because people are like, you don't have to throw them. And I'm like, look, I mean, they want to be thrown. Like, the first falconer I ever talked to about it, I was just trapping for a kestrel, and my buddy's here, and he said, you're going to have to get used to holding the bird on your right hand, right? It's like, what do you mean hold it with my right hand? And he was like, well, that's how you throw it out the window. And that just completely threw me for a loop, So he said, that's how I throw it out the window. I started tossing them out the window. And once I realized they liked it and they actually would prefer it, because I would just hold my hand and ride by and they'd just look at it. And half the time they wouldn't even go for the slip. So that little extra oomph just gave them the extra confidence. And I guess it's because I did it every time and they realized that's what was happening. So,
yeah, man, if you want to get into some high level nitty gritty discussions, that's a very deep topic that we can get into, because a lot of people say throwing, especially in the accipiter world, there's no benefit. They don't need it. You're actually, throwing the bird off, depending like this. But then you go see those Indian falconers. You seen those videos, bro? Those guys are like winding up like they're about to throw. Bro, they're about to throw no, they don't throw fastballs. They're about to throw a cricket ball, bro. And those birds they prepare for it, and they lock down just like you said. They crouch, and then as soon as that arm comes forward, they just push off of that momentum, and they use it to their advantage to give them that extra oomph. I have seen sometimes it like the guy winding up, like the bird's like halfway across the field by the time he's winding up, and it's like, bro, just let the bird chase it. But I have seen a couple times where like friggin' the Indian guy, he's ready, he's cocked, and that thing flushes and he just whips it, and the bird just knew it was coming and just goes right. Because you can't just throw any bird, right? You kind of got to train for it.
Yeah.
You throw some bird. I've tried. I had I had a Tirso goshawk, bro, and he kept refusing slips, and I tried to give him a little throw one time, and didn't work so well.
They usually just land on the ground if they're not used to it.
Yeah, and then the whole hunt is ruined. You got to put him back in the box for an hour, let him reset, take him back out, try again. But yeah, man, that's cool. You should get do you have a 360 cam? You should get a 360 cam and set that sucker up on your dashboard and try to get.
So my fiance got me a GoPro for Christmas, and I had long hair. So wearing my hat and then the GoPro on top of it, it literally just bounced on top of my thick hair the whole time. So I was like, I get a haircut, then I'm going to wear that thing. I only wore it once. So this season, I'm going to have it on. I'm going to get a mount for it in the car when I get this little guy going. But I'm hopeful. I've got accipiter dreams coming up this season. So this guy's got to get out of here before that happens. So
I will say, at least you got hair, man. Be grateful. Otherwise, you look like that's why I keep my hair buzzed, bro. So my GoPro sticks like a suction cup. So all right. So you want to so you have accipiter dreams. Tell us about that.
What are you going for?
So I had a deposit in with Seth to get a bird. I talked to you guys about that. So
does he know who you are?
Yeah. So at this point, I had some stuff come up, and I was like, hey man, I want to hold off, just keep my deposit, and let's just put that towards something in the future. So I'm probably going to get a coop come July, maybe early August, depending on how everything looks. I've got a buddy that had a nest literally in his front yard, and he had a family group of 4 that were just sunbathing on the bench in his backyard and stuff. So I was like, man, we're gonna get us one of those and hopefully be able to roll with it. But I figured it'd be easier to get a coop out of my buddy's yard than pay $3,500 for my first accipiter. So,
well, we could talk off air, but
I'm of the opinion that a Cooper's Hawk is a good first accipiter.
Yeah,
to teach you what you're missing out when you fly a goshawk.
Let it whoop up on me a little bit, and then
I didn't. Everybody says they're nightmare birds. They're mean. They're nasty. That was not my experience at all with the Cooper's Hawk that I flew.
Yeah,
she was great. Yeah, she was awesome.
Was it a pure passage, or was it like a family bird off the nest, or?
It was weird. I got this weird, like, day before they started branching bird.
They say that's the perfect bird to get.
Really?
That's what they say, man. They say the family bird The brancher
that's not a family bird. The family birds are flying around.
Like my guys hanging out on the bench.
If they can fly or flutter.
Yeah, this bird couldn't fly.
Okay, well, the mental state is pretty much the same, okay? So
all right.
It's pretty much the same. No, but they say a bird that's been raised by the parents and then is starting to branch or flying around is like the best bird to get because they don't have the pure, passage fear, and they don't have the pure imprint aggression towards your face. You know what I mean? So yeah, Jeremy, I would say if you can snab one of those suckers as soon as that would be what I would do. And I would love to fly one of those too.
That's the plan. I'm going to interview this red tail that I have. I got her the end of last year and hunted her for 3 months, and she did pretty good, pretty big bird, pretty laid back. So keep her and then try the coop out. And if I need to cut it loose and squirrel hawk all season, I'll do it. So
no, you can't think like that. You're going to fly it. You're going to do well with it. You're going to kill it. And so that red tail, you named it Eagle, right? Or something?
Yeah. So I'm naming my birds in alphabetical order. Okay. I heard somebody on a podcast or something that did that, and I was like, that's cool. So I've had Augusta National Golf Club, Bounty. One of my first dogs that I got lab-wise, his mom's name was Bounty. And with labs, all the AKC registered names are clever. And then the call name is not a part of the registered name. So like I have a male, his registered name, my kennel's breed standard retriever. So it's BSR, clear for launch. And his name is Rocket.
That's cool, yeah.
This dog's name was Quicker Picker Upper, and her name was Bounty. And I was like, that's a good bird name.
That's
so
cool.
I had Bounty as my second, and then my first kestrel was Churro, because when I pulled her off the bat, I flipped her on her back. She just laid there. I showed my buddy's daughter the picture, and she said, she looks like a little Churro. I was like, that even starts with a C, it's perfect.
Perfect.
Then Dolph, and I did that just mainly because of the slate gray, bluish color on him, looked like a dolphin. And then Eagle, because when I pulled this bird off the trap, she was almost 1,500 grams.
Nice.
And I've been holding kestrels barehanded, So putting this red tail back on my fist after not having a red tail for a year, I was like, holy cow, it was just a perfect fit. So
yeah,
still got her. She's molting out right now, doing fine, fat and happy. I throw half a quail in there and she just looks at me and eats it later. So
yeah. Big, juicy female red tails are so nice, man. They're so nice. I feel like they're all chill. All the big ones, man, they're just laid back. And then they just crush anything that moves. And then their whole personality is just chill. That's the vibe I get from my experience personally. The big ones.
Yeah, she's been good. She's been a really calm bird. I actually got to take people in the field the first time she killed something. We had like 3 folks in the field with us. So, I mean, she got off from the get-go dealing with people, was just really an easygoing bird. I mean, I have a lot of people that obviously, people know what I do. And even if I don't have a bird around, they're like, oh, can I see the bird? And if I have one, I mean, I'm kind of obligated to get it out and stuff. So She does really good. I can tell her back and she'll step up on the tailgate and I can swap the glove to somebody else and tell them what to do. And she'll stand on the glove and not give them any issues. So
that's awesome.
It's nice to have a easygoing one like that for sure.
Yeah. And don't take it for granted, man. I had a good one for a long time and, I didn't do anything. I was on vacation and I gave her to somebody to hold. And she got injured in their chamber, a life-changing injury that couldn't be repaired. And so she's at a Raptor Center now. But dude, it was just such an amazing, you know what I mean? Just like, you didn't have to do anything. You just pull her out of the box, throw her up, start walking, catch something, trade her off, catch something else, go home. It was like zero fuss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't take it for granted, man. Because they're so nice when you get those big ones. And they're real chill like that. They're just so nice.
Trade-offs with her have been crazy. Like I've always covered it up and tossed the tidbit, With her, I can pick her up, hold the squirrel in my hand, grab a tidbit out of my pocket, toss it on the ground, and she will voluntarily leave the squirrel and grab the tidbit.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I have to get that squirrel in my bag pretty quick because she finishes the tidbit and turns around and still knows I have the squirrel.
Yeah.
But once she started doing that, I was like, man, we're about to knock it out. So she caught 3 in one day, and that was her biggest. We got a triple, but
nice.
Doubles within 30, 45 minutes, a lot of mornings. And I was like, okay, this is a pretty nice, easy bird. I'm going to hold on to her.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'll feed her all summer.
Oh, yeah. She's worth feeding.
I haven't had a big red tail since I started doing the dachshunds and being able to reliably find rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
I've thought about getting just the biggest female I could get my hands on, like flying one at like 50 ounces or something like that. And just seeing how it does with rabbits, because our brush here is so thick, probably just like Jeremy's. Blackberry, they're just like 6 foot thick, piles of brush, and just seeing how it does with rabbits.
I haven't done much rabbit. The first rabbit, this is a funny story. The first rabbit I ever killed with the bird, first rabbit we flushed
was with a kestrel.
with the male, the 80 gram kestrel. But now this was my second red tail. The first female I had, slipped the rabbit, nailed it. Started squealing and squawking. I'm on the side of a golf course, and I run over there and I grab her, and I've never stretched a rabbit, so I had no idea what to do. So I'm sitting there. It's just a rodeo, and I'm on the side of the fairway. There's guys like turning and looking, and I see this beer bottle, and so you can kind of imagine the rest of the story there. Cracked the beer bottle, got everything handled. Birds sitting there.
This guy's been in a bar fighter too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, bar fighting rabbits. So the bird's going crazy, just feeding up.
Dude, that's hilarious. I can just see it right now. It gets better.
So,
oh my God.
When you don't stretch it, you don't let the bird break in, and a Bud Light bottle breaks in. There's a little more blood than usual. So I come walking out of the woods onto the side of this golf course with a bloody rabbit, bloody shirt, blood all over my ungloved arm, everything.
Beer bottle.
I left the beer bottle. Went to get a full beer bottle from the truck after that. But,
there you go.
Yeah, man, those are the kind of red tail stories that you live to remember, because people see you in the woods, man, you look crazy out there.
Oh yeah, you're a friggin' lunatic, bro. These people think you're lost, you're nuts. Mm-hmm. Bro, the way people look at me, man, I feel like I'm a criminal. I'm not even doing it.
Yeah.
I'm stumbling around, I'm tripping over logs, I'm screaming. Nobody sees the little dog, because it's in the brush, and I'm screaming, I'm talking to myself, I'm pulling vines, I'm looking up at the sky like a crazy bro. Whatever. I have a story about that, and real quick, it's a great story. I had to go to court and everything. So I'm walking up and down a train track. I'm behind an office park. There's a New Jersey Transit, and I'm hawking. You know what I mean? I'm out here. I'm hawking. I got my red tail up. I had a Tiercel Goshawk imprint in the truck, trying to catch a baggie to with the red tail to trade off, keep it alive, do a baggie with the Goshawk. I'm walking up and down the train track. I had no dogs at the time. I'm walking up and down the train track, pulling vines, beating brush. Yelling up, this is that. Long story, long story short, a lady was in her office, like the president of this giant company, this huge building. She called the police. She said, "I think there's a guy he's mentally unwell, and I think he's going to hurt himself. He's going to try to jump on a train." So they shut down New Jersey Transit. Transit police came. County sheriff came. The town cops came. All said and done, there was 6 cop cars and about 8 cops that showed up. And long story short, I had to go to court. It was this whole thing. But it was just the cop was telling me the story. And it was just the funniest thing, man, because he told me, he's like, yeah, the woman said you were trying to hurt yourself. And the funniest part was I grew up in the town that I was hawking in. And I knew the cop. He's been to my house like a bunch of times for bonfires and parties and whatever. And he knew who I was, but he pretended like he didn't know who I was. And he gave me a huge hard time. And he really poured the coals to me. And then he got the game warden on the phone. Then the game warden called me the next day while I was at work. And, because apparently I couldn't hawk there. You were trespassing. Although the sheriff and and New Jersey Transit didn't want to press charges because there's no signage. Still had to go to court. It was a whole crapshoot. But yeah, man, when you're hawking urban stuff like that, man, people look at you. You look like a lunatic, man.
Yeah,
there's no way around it.
I try to talk to people, but it's like, man, I'm out here to fly my bird. I don't have time to stop and do the whole falconry spiel for everybody I run into. But
oh yeah, I try to give them the spiel, and as I'm talking, I realize that they're just looking at me like a crazed homeless person, just rambling about like some fantasy that he has in his mind, and they're not taking me seriously. And I say, all right, and I just walk away. I just walk away because they're not even listening to what I'm saying. They think I'm lying. They think I'm on drugs. Whatever it is.
I usually tell them all that if they're interested, they can meet me at my truck in about an hour.
Well, you're a counselor for a living, so you're very professional. So I'm just like, find my bird. I got the bird, and I'm trying to catch a rabbit. And they're like, oh, okay, sir.
What?
Take it easy. Everything's all right.
So I had the cops called on me one day, and 2 cops showed up in one car. I guess one was like training or something, and I knew one of them from high school. And first thing he did, we got a guy over here with a Falcon, and next thing we know, there was like probably about like 4 or 5 cop cars, about 8 different cops. They literally just came to hold the bird.
Yeah, that's cool.
Take pictures. So like I threw the bird up, and I was like giving them a tidbit, like standing behind them and whistling, coming down, landing on the cop's fist and all that. And I was like, this is the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because if this happens again, they're going to be like, oh, we know that guy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the best. When you can make a good 90% of the times when the cops come, I used to grow up in an urban area, and I had the cops called on me like on a weekly basis. So 99% of the time, they're super cool. They're just like, oh, that's cool. Let me get out of your way. And they just leave.
Yeah.
But every now and then, man, you get one that's just trying to get a promotion. He's trying to get a promotion. Or he's got to stick up his, and it's just like, they want to like make their career off of some guy flying his bird, and they want to,
no
what I mean?
offense to any police officers on here. Thank you.
No, we love cops, but it's
speak for yourselves.
No, but hey, listen, if there's any cops listening, you know who the guys are in your department that nobody likes and that are handing out tickets to old ladies and making them cry. Like, who they are. Come on. I got a lot of friends that are cops. There's always that one guy in the precinct that's got a little bit of a problem.
Why are you sweating right now, bro?
Bro, talking about cops, talking about police, bro. My blood pressure goes up, bro. But on that same note, have you curtailed? We've all had some run-ins with the law over social media posts, stuff that we all as falconers do on a daily basis, more than likely. But since some of us get more in the public eye, there's a lot of falconers out there that don't. Yeah, pretty much they just get angry or jealous or whatever it is. I mean, I don't know what else it would be that would drive somebody to call Fish and Game on a fellow falconer for something that most falconers in the country do on a regular basis. Have you curtailed like what you post for that? Or you only car hawk like rural areas, or what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I went through, and I mean, the things that really hit me are like, if you're a falconer and what we go through as far as the public perception and how rare we are and stuff. If you see anything that I'm doing, because I mean, obviously I am a voice for the community without even trying to be, so all I can do is try to give a good perception, because everybody is seeing what I'm doing and assuming that's how it is, if they're not following other falconers and seeing other stuff. And so if anybody ever sees anything I'm doing, like, let me know, like I'm not hard to find. Just tell me, hey, look, this, that, and the other. I want to make sure that you're giving the right appearance of this to everybody. And I'll have people get on there and just bash me. Like, one guy was like, are you pre-stretching that leather before you make those ankles? Dude,
you know what the British say? They say, piss off, will you? That's what they say.
Yeah.
Piss off, you cunt.
That's what they say.
I made a creance to fly inside, and I literally just tied it to a bottle and did fishing line and a swivel on it. So I can just clip it. I mean, I don't want the bird flying all over the house on day one when we're trying to fly and jump to the fist.
I see people with no creance, and they say, why would I need a creance? It's in my house.
Yeah. And the guy was like, you really shouldn't use fishing line. You need to use something braided and cut it off and super glue the ends so it doesn't come unraveled. It's going to land on my curtain rod.
Yeah.
So little things like that, I just try to delete them. I don't want anybody seeing another falconer say something about my stuff on a public post. It's like, man, just message me and talk about this stuff.
Dude, I watch your stuff all the time, like on a daily basis, and you don't do anything that's worth commenting. The only reason why somebody would comment is because they're jealous or they want to try to somehow insert themselves as a authority figure in your content. That's pretty much all it is.
And I'm 3 years into this. Like, I make mistakes every single day. Yeah. And like, I've got falconers close to me, but I don't have a little group of like-minded folks that all want to do that. My falconry is pretty much me and the internet at the end of the day. Like, I'm one of those that Pablo Escobar little meme where he's just sitting there on the tailgate just waiting for everybody to show up. Like, everybody wants to go hawking, but nobody ever shows, and everybody has a standing invite. Anybody's welcome to come to Alabama and go, but nobody ever shows up. And
that's where you lost me, dog. Alabama,
let's go, roll Tide.
Well, if you were closer, I'd hawk with you. My problem is I'm the same way. Nobody wants to fly. I can't find anybody to go flying with. Everybody's busy. Yeah. But we have good group chats though. I would say for somebody like yourself that's been in it for 3 years, it's good to get a good group of guys that have more experience than you and get in like a group chat with them. And just shoot. Like my bird, like I don't know if you saw in my story, my goshawk her stomach was making all kinds of weird noises. And I've been doing this for a while. I've never heard a bird. It sounded like a grizzly bear's stomach was growling. I've never heard anything like that in my life. So I just sent it in the group chat and perforated lung, something's in the digestive tract. I've heard that before. It's no big deal. So you get so you can get some insight from guys that are, if you just post it on like a Facebook group, like you're going to get all kinds of nonsense. Like you got to get, because you don't know who's posting. You don't know their experience level. You know what I mean? Who knows who they are. So it's good to get involved with a good group of guys that know their stuff inside and out. And then you can rely on them for stuff like, because when you get this coops, man, if you get this coops, which I hope you do, I'm telling you, I'm flying goshawks, man. And if you don't have a mentor, I'm still on the phone asking questions. What the heck? What did I do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you got to have guys around you that can help you. And that's hunting. That's falconry. That's literally at the core of what falconry is that it is passed down for 5,000 years that we know of. From generation to generation, it was verbal, then it went to writing, and now we have social media and we have communities. It's passing that information down from one generation to the next generation. And that's where it's at, man. You got to find those guys that know more and guys that are not arrogant, that are pricks, that are going to try to hide information so that you learn on your own. It's all about, that's what hunting is, man. It's about passing down the skills from one generation to the next, man. That's what it is, 100%.
And right now, you just got to be the internet and social media is a wealth of knowledge, but a lot of the knowledge is not right either.
Yeah.
That's why I say search and see what everybody says and go through there. And I've got so many posts saved of all kinds of different deals. Like if I come across something, I'm like, I remember somebody posted, and I like scroll back and it may be a post from 2018 where somebody asked this question, but nothing's changed in bird care from 2018 to 24. So I pull up all those old comments and look through there. But man, having, like I said, like Tyler says, internet friends, man, I don't know of any. There's one guy around here that's flown some short wings. I don't know about successfully.
Probably not.
Probably not. I know there's one that spent a lot of money on a bird, and I don't think he's had any success. So, having guys across the country that I can bounce ideas off of and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Same thing with the micros, man. I just found a lot of people that had success with kestrels, watched what they do, watched what they didn't do, and said, well, hey, I think this might work better if I went this way and all that. And like with the imprint, I'd never raised an imprint. I was looking. I actually saw the female hunting, flew back up to a power line, and then flew over to a building. And I was like, okay, she's got young.
Nice.
So I sat there and watched her. She kept doing it. Had to go to a work meeting, came back and watched, still doing it. So I ran home and got everything I needed. Actually, I went and knocked on the guy's door first and talked to him, told him I was a federally licensed falconer, and he had a falcon living in his barn. And he was like, what? So I was like, hey, right there, I'm in. So I went and got everything I needed, came back, climbed up there, pulled 2 out. I had the male and the female. And I was like, I'm going to take this little one because he's not eating as much as this big one. And he was like, oh, that's great. So gave him the whole deal. I actually went back and showed him the bird a few months later once he was like flying and stuff. So they were so pumped about that. But
that's awesome. Did you sell him Did you sell him a bathtub on the way out?
No, I wish I should have. When I pulled up to pull that bird, I didn't see either mom or dad around. So I'm like sitting there and I'm in the same place. I'm like, man, they've got to be around somewhere. So I got on like Audubon or Raptor ID, one of those apps, connected to my Bluetooth, rolled all my windows down, opened my sunroof, and blared a male alarm call over my radio. And then, boom, both of them came in, landed on the power line. Mom flew in to check on the babies, and I said, okay. So I snuck up there. She bolted out, and it was just in the eave of an old barn, and I was able to take off the little vent on the side and reach in there and pull them out. And it was a great experience. He was probably about 2 weeks old when I got him. And food association wise, I had so many starlings. So I would score up the breast on a starling, split the breast, sit it in his little nest thing, and then take him and just drop him in there. So he literally rode around in the truck in the air all summer with a starling there. And then when I got to the point where I had to call him to the fist and get him to return, I just started dropping tidbits. So he had to do jump up. So like he wasn't really getting it from the fist. He did get a little vocal, but I think he got to the point where he realized going hunting was what he was there for. So he was only vocal when he was pissed off being in the office. And then once we got in the truck, he was just quiet as can be, just on watch all the time. So
yeah,
I'll take one that hollers in the house as long as they're quiet riding around in the truck, because that's where I spend most of the time with them.
Yeah, man. Most imprints scream a little bit, man. To say that an imprint doesn't scream, very rarely do they not scream. So from my experience and from what I've heard from a lot of guys. Scream. Yeah, I just saw him on the screen hopping around, foot and stuff.
It's crazy, man.
He's quiet.
So she had him for a year and never once. She got to the point where he would hover and she would throw mealworms in the air and he would snatch them out of the air. That was the only actual food association. But he would be on one side of the house and she would hide food and he would have to go find it. So like I have a bunch of hoods up here on this bookshelf, and like he went in and was like grabbing hoods and flipping them upside down.
Looking for
she
the
was
food?
Like hiding food under stuff. So he's always had to work for it. So I think that was the main thing. But he's just dead quiet. He got a little vocal on that baggie today, but I'm like, hey, that's fine by me,
Yeah.
Just shows he was fired up.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Have you done any, have you hunted kestrels any way other than car hawking?
So I've walked around with my passage on the fist, and she did catch a sparrow, but she also liked to carry sparrows. So I was able to make into her, and I threw the lure and kind of caught her attention. That was my plan. Like, hey, if I can get her to look at this lure, I may be able to make in without her bolting. Because like, once again, I'm throwing the bird out anytime I see a starling. If I think, because they'll see it and like she'll perk up, and she's gonna get mad if I don't let her try. So if all's well traffic wise, we're going. So most of the time I'm in areas where it's pretty much always going to be a good slip. But I wanted to be able to make in really fast, snatch her up, and handle everything else in the truck. That's so good. I would run up, grab the starling, run back to the truck. I had an old t-shirt. I would wrap the starling up with the t-shirt, grab the starling on the outside of the t-shirt. Both feet are still locked onto the starling's neck and head. I would take the tidbit, sit it on the middle console. Bird would jump across the tidbit. I'd do a little snap of the neck and throw it in behind the back seat. So all in all, from the time I see a starling, this is with the passage. From the time I would see a starling, pull up, throw the bird out, they would catch it. I would be back in the truck and trade it off. 30 seconds.
That's sick, man.
Something like that.
Nice.
So when I'm doing that with a starling, no problem. When I'm doing that with a sparrow, kind of hey, I can bolt, I'm going to bolt,
Yeah.
So the one sparrow that she caught off the fist, I threw the lure in front of her. I grabbed like the tip of a jest before she was flying off. So I don't think I could get close enough to starlings to hunt her off the fist. I would love to have one waiting on. You said Merlin. I want to do a Merlin eventually.
If you got that many starlings, you probably could manage a Merlin.
They're all over the place, man. We're right here on the river. And they have Meow Mix is on the river right here. So you can imagine all the birds that has over there. And then we have
the cat food, soybean. Casey. Meow Mix.
Yeah. What?
Then we Meow Mix.
He's got a Meow Mix plant.
We don't like cats, but starlings like Meow Mix, so that's fine with me.
That's right.
Then we have a soybean processing plant. So when the trucks come up and roll the tarps off the 18-wheelers, big piles of beans fall out. So we got dove and starling and grackle just on the side of the road, not even scared of a vehicle. The workers from the plants and on the railroad tracks are all walking through there all the time, and they may bump 5 or 10 yards. So obviously that'll be different with a bird on the fist, but that's my goal for getting an accipiter, to be able to just have that pursuit flight, because I've got so many good opportunities.
Yeah, man.
Flying a kestrel out of a car window, as to the uninitiated, they may think that sounds dangerous, but that's literally the safest way you could fly a kestrel, because in my opinion, and you have way more experience than me with them, is Cooper's Hawks. That's like the biggest danger, right?
Yeah. Getting them back in the vehicle quick. And that's another reason. I mean, you might be parked on the side of the road, but a kestrel with a starling is just a 2-for-1 for a Cooper's Hawk. They don't even have to try. It's literally come in and snatch one in each foot. Probably you could snatch the kestrel, and kestrel still wouldn't let go of the starling, and you're flying off with 2 of them. So doing that and a really quick recall is obviously a big deal. My imprint, he would miss, fly back around and land on the dog kennel on my truck, and I could call him right in. He eventually got to the point where he would fly back in the window. Perfect. He caught a house sparrow once and brought it back through the window.
That's
incredible.
Landed on the middle console, and I was like, dude, if I could make him do this every time.
That's like how people think falconry works.
Yeah. Did they bring it back to you?
Yeah, I guess they do.
I can say, one time they did.
But. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's too funny. Well, I look forward to seeing how you do with the Cooper's Hawk. And like Casey was saying earlier, and like you were saying, it's about building a community. We're few and far between. I don't really have any falconers around me that do falconry the way I do either. So that's why me and Casey became friends. He's several states away from me. So yeah, man, that's what it's all about, is building a community and not listening to the haters, because there's always going to be somebody online that has something to say about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And everybody's situation is different. You live somewhere, you got tons of starlings. So yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you be hunting those?
Yeah. Heck yeah. I do think though that you should call Seth back and try to negotiate.
Well,
I really do.
Hang up.
An official sponsor.
The big thing for me right now is I'm not gonna commit to something when I just got engaged. I've got all kinds of stuff going on this summer.
Damn, you're making mistakes left and right.
Tell me about it. No, I got a really good one. I've been there, done that, been through the falconry divorce and the whole 9 yards. So this one's been around for the whole thing. She's been there, released birds, helped me go get. We had a little sharp shin hit a window a few months back, and obviously it was all right. I just brought it in, squirted some water in there, tried to get it to eat, and it was just pissed off. So I was like, all right, we're going to go let this thing go. It doesn't need to be transported anywhere. So I showed her how to hold it, and she took it out and threw it up into the woods and all. So not a falconer by any means, but she's tolerant of it and knows how much of my life it takes up. Because, you talk about being married to somebody, and then you all of a sudden take on falconry, and then you lose half of the person that you had before, because it's just 100% focused on falcon. And
that's the way it should be.
Yeah. And if you tell somebody telling somebody it's a lifestyle, they're like, yeah, cool. But it's like, lifestyle doesn't begin to explain what falconry does to you by any means.
It's more of
it's
an
a
addiction.
rage.
It's like
Falcons.
it's like a drug addiction. Like my wife's in the other room. I'm going to whisper. So I had to work late today, right? I wasn't working late.
No.
I drove upstate New York and I was hiking around the mountains looking for a goshawk nest.
We need to start an online, something that you have to pay for, obviously, so we can make some money.
Yeah.
Some type of rehab for falconers like you do for drug and alcohol.
No.
So the spouses just...
Shit, I'm a licensed
We don't need that.
counselor. I could do it.
We can make some money off of it.
No, we'll make money off the wives. We need to get the wives in counseling, not us.
Yeah. Well, we got a counselor out here. We're good to go.
That's right, man.
Aaron can make the money on it.
Yeah, it sounds good. It's about time I make some money. I took this girl out hawking this past season, and she was pretty gung-ho. I was impressed by how serious she was. But she told me, she was like, Aaron, you need to take a bunch of fat housewives walking around in the woods. You could make some serious money.
Yeah.
Like a fitness thing?
Like a fitness thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had something brilliant to say, but I don't remember now.
Oh, great. That's the story of our lives.
So I think we're getting to a logical point to wrap it up.
Yeah. I think we covered a lot.
Jeremy, is there anything else you feel like you need to cover today?
I don't think so. I mean, I just want to thank y'all first and foremost. I mean, it's been awesome coming on here. And like I said, I didn't ask for any of this. Like, I'm glad I'm in the position I am and I can share what I'm doing with folks. But I'm always open to constructive criticism. You can be mean, criticizing, whatever. Just let me know. Message me, email me, whatever the case may be. I'm doing my best to help a lot of folks with kestrels and stuff. People will say, well, I'm doing this, that, and the other. And I mean, I'm only 2.5 birds in right now, so I can't answer all the questions, but I can just say what's worked for me. And I know I'm going to need that going forward through the rest of my falconry. So I'm always glad to help anybody. And but yeah, I always reach out if you see something that I've posted or something that I'm doing that you think has a negative impact on the general public's perception of falconry and falconers. I mean, let me know. Like I'm all about trying to, it may say Jones Falconry, but I mean, I'm trying to put a good positive light on falconry for everybody. So,
you really are.
Yeah. Anybody that sees anything, let me know. Anybody that wants to come to Alabama and go squirrel hawking or car hawking for some starlings, you're always welcome. And
how far is Alabama? How far is Alabama from here? I might come take you up on that. Take some of your
North
squirrels.
Alabama. I'm just an hour from Tennessee, hour and a half from Mississippi, hour and a half from Georgia. So we're right here, smack dab in the middle of the north part.
It's probably about, I don't know. How far is South Jersey from you, Casey?
Like 2 hours.
So, and probably 15, 16 hours from you.
It's worth it.
Casey's like, maybe not.
20 squirrels.
Casey's like, maybe not.
Well, that's the biggest thing for me is like, and to younger and newer falconers out there, like when I was younger, I've been a falconer since I was a little kid. Like I didn't have any money to do anything and I didn't really know to do anything fun. And like now that I'm older and I have a successful career and stuff, like I could go wherever I want or whatever. But like I have a wife, I have kids. Like I can't just disappear for a week.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like it's only 15 hours. That's easy. That's light work. I'll leave at 5 a.m. I'll be there in the afternoon. But yeah, man, it's like go out, go experience things, go to NAFA meets. I guess one thing I regret is like not going to NAFA meets when I was young. Like asking my mom or something to help me get there so I could go and experience it. Like, because now it's like an ordeal. You have to plan it. You got to get babysitters. You got to get help for your family. And then it's like a huge inconvenience to go and do these things. So,
go meet all the haters in real life.
Yeah, go meet all the haters that are going to kiss your ass in person when you meet them.
Yeah, I got to make a NAFA meet. I've been to our Alabama stuff, and we go down. I mean, when you guys think Alabama, where I'm at, like I'm right here by Redstone Arsenal. We're full of engineers and all that, but you go down South Alabama where we had our meet, and it's when you think Alabama, that's what you think. So,
Alabama.
Guy in overalls, no shirt, with a
Shit, we know
Levi
that guy.
Garrett shoe hanging out of his mouth, telling us what hogs did what ruts and all that.
That's what we're talking about. Those are our people.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, it gives you the whole Alabama vibe if you come down to a meet. So anybody's welcome to come join us there, do some squirrel hawking. So
there's a lot of game, a lot of squirrels.
I think we have more up here, so I don't know why I drive 3.5 hours down there to trough through the South Alabama woods, but
not really selling.
We got a lot of game up here.
I'll come see you. I'll skip the meet and I'll come see you.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll put on our own mini meet up here.
Yeah, I'm down for that, man. Let's do it.